This video is about how to state the null and the alternative hypothesis in hypothesis testing. Okay? For both methods of hypothesis testing, the first step is to state the null and the alternative hypothesis. Okay? And the way that we learn this in class is that the null hypothesis, basically it's what we know from the situation. So what is already known, that's going to be the number we use in our null hypothesis. And what the researcher is interested in investigating or testing, that will be the number that we use in our alternative hypothesis. Okay. These examples, the null and alternative, are given. So let's go ahead, let's look at these. For people who weren't in class or who weren't paying attention in class, it might be helpful to look at these. Okay. So this one, it says that the researcher thinks that if expectant mothers use vitamin pills, the birth weight of babies will increase, and that the average weight of newly born babies is 2.3 kilos. So the null hypothesis, I guess I need to make this big to write on it. The null hypothesis is what we know. Okay, so what we know, just reading this, we know that the average weight of newborn babies is 2.3 kilos. Okay? Now what the researcher is interested in checking is seeing if the birth weight is going to increase. So that would be our alternative. Okay, and she's interested in seeing if the birth weight will increase. So she's interested in seeing if the average weight will be greater than 2.3. Okay? So that would be our null. This would be our alternative. Now, as I mentioned in class, from the alternative, this is what you tell what type of test it is. So this, the alternative, tells us the type of test. Okay, and this, if it's a mu is greater than, it's a right-tailed test. And what that means, as we discussed in class, is that the rejection region for our test is going to be in the right tail. Okay, that would be our rejection region. So you can think of the sign as an arrow that points to the rejection region, okay, to the tail where the rejection region will be. Let's look at the next one. Null and alternative hypothesis for this. The engineer hypothesizes that the mean number of defects can be decreased in a process of compact disc by using robots. The mean number of defective discs per 1,000 is 8. Okay, so our null is what we know. The null in this problem is that the average is 8. The alternative is what the researcher is interested in checking or measuring. This researcher, an engineer, thinks that the mean can be decreased. Okay, so he thinks that the mean can be made less than 8. Okay, so as I mentioned in the previous slide, from our alternative we know what type of test it is. This is going to be a left-tailed test. How do I know that? Because this is like a little arrow pointing to the tail where the rejection region is going to be. So we'll have our standard normal distribution, and this time our rejection region will be in the left tail. So here will be our rejection region. On to the next one. Psychologist feels that playing soft music during a test will change the results. And the psychologist is not sure whether the grades will be higher or lower. In the past, the mean was 73. The null hypothesis is always what we know. So the null is that the mean is 73. The alternative is always what the investigator is checking, investigating, researching. This investigator, this psychologist, thinks that playing the music will change. She's not sure whether the grades will be higher or lower, but she thinks they'll be different. So our alternative is that mu is not going to be equal to 73. We're not sure if it's going to be higher or lower. We just think it's going to be different. So if your alternative hypothesis has a not equal sign, that's a two-tailed hypothesis test. Okay? So a two-tailed hypothesis test has two rejection regions. It has a rejection in the left, a rejection region in the left tail, and rejection region in the right tail. Okay, so that is the first step, and you have to state those clearly. Okay, you can't skip over that part, and you have to write the hypotheses clearly. Okay, and we practiced that in class. It's not okay just to write h sub 0 is 73. You have to write h sub 0 is that mu is equal to 73. Okay, so this short video has just shown how to state the null and the alternative hypothesis.